The war had lasted for years. The humans and the Zarnan Empire fought fiercely over many planets. But now, on the distant world of Thalrun, the war was almost over. The human soldiers had pushed the enemy back and were close to winning. Sergeant Marcus Vance looked around at the city in front of him. The buildings were broken and burned. Smoke still rose from some places. The streets were quiet, too quiet. The battle had left the city empty and sad. Marcus walked carefully with his team. They moved slowly, watching for danger. The war had made everyone cautious. But here, on this silent world, something felt different. There was no enemy, no fighting. Only the sound of wind and distant cries. Suddenly, Marcus saw a figure. A woman was sitting alone on the ground near a broken wall. She wore clothes that looked strange and beautiful. Her skin was pale with a soft glow, and her eyes were big and bright like stars. Even though she looked tired and sad, there was a quiet strength in her face. Marcus stepped forward. "Are you safe?" he asked. The woman looked up. Her eyes met his, and she nodded slowly. "I am Elira," she said softly. Her voice was gentle but full of pain. "I am a Thalari." Marcus remembered what he had heard about the Thalari. They were the people who ruled this world before the war. A proud and noble race now broken and afraid. "What happened here?" Marcus asked. Elira's eyes filled with tears. "The Zarnan destroyed much. They killed many. My husband, he was a leader of the resistance. He fought to save our people, but they took him from me." Marcus felt a tightness in his chest. He had seen too much death and loss during the war, but her words made it real. She was not just a stranger. She was someone who had suffered. "Where can you go now?" Marcus asked gently. Elira looked around the ruined city. "There is nowhere safe for me here. The war is over, but my enemies still want to hurt me." Marcus thought for a moment. He looked at his team. They were tired but ready to help. "Come with us. We will protect you." Elira hesitated, then nodded. She slowly stood up, her movements graceful despite the pain she carried. The soldiers moved carefully through the city. They helped other survivors too, children, old people, families who lost everything. The humans worked fast to bring food, medicine, and hope. That night, Marcus sat near a campfire. Elira sat beside him, wrapped in a warm blanket. The stars above were strange and bright, shining in the alien sky. "Tell me about your world," Marcus said softly. "What was Thalrun like before the war?" Elira smiled faintly. "Thalrun was beautiful. Rivers like silver ribbons, forests taller than the sky, and cities of light and art. My people lived in peace, ruled by wisdom and honor. But the Zarnan came," she said, her voice breaking. "They wanted to take everything. My husband led the fight. Many died. Many lost hope." Marcus looked at her. He understood pain, but he also saw something else. A quiet fire, a desire to keep going. "We will help rebuild," he promised. "Together." Elira looked at him with hope. "Thank you, Marcus. You are kind." The soldiers made camp for the night. Some kept watch. Others slept. But Marcus stayed awake, thinking about the woman who had trusted him. In the quiet of the alien night, a new promise was born. The war was not just about fighting anymore. It was about saving lives and building a future, and for Marcus and Elira, that future was about to change everything. The sun rose slowly over the broken city of Thalrun. Light touched the ruins and made the dust sparkle like tiny stars. Sergeant Marcus Vance stood near the camp watching as his team worked hard. They helped the survivors clean wounds, repair small buildings, and carry food. Elira moved quietly among the people. Though she was a noble woman, she did not sit apart. She helped where she could, comforting frightened children, offering water to the weak, and sharing stories about better days. Her presence gave hope to many. Marcus noticed this. He saw how the survivors looked at her with respect and trust. Even the soldiers began to listen when she spoke. It was strange to see an alien woman lead in such a way, but Marcus admired her strength. One afternoon, Marcus sat with Elira near a small fire. The city was calm, but the future was still uncertain. "Why do you stay here?" Marcus asked. "This place is full of pain and danger." Elira looked at the distant mountains. "This is my home. I must help my people heal, but I cannot do it alone." Marcus nodded slowly. "You are not alone. We will help you." For the first time, Elira smiled warmly. "Thank you, Marcus. You are more kind than I expected." They talked for hours. Elira shared stories of her life before the war, how her husband had been a brave leader who cared deeply for their people. She told Marcus about the festivals, the music, and the beauty of the Thalari culture. Marcus listened carefully. He saw the pain in her eyes, but also the hope. In turn, Marcus spoke about Earth, his home. He told her about the green forests, the tall mountains, and the oceans that stretched far and wide. He spoke of family, friends, and the dreams he once had before the war changed everything. Elira was fascinated. "Your world sounds very different from mine." "It is," Marcus agreed. "But maybe different is not bad. Maybe we can learn from each other." Their conversations became the heart of their growing friendship. They learned new words, shared laughter, and helped each other understand two very different worlds. One evening, a sudden noise broke the quiet. A group of armed men appeared near the camp's edge. They were rough-looking and angry. The soldiers quickly took their positions, ready to defend. Marcus stepped forward. "Who are you? What do you want?" The leader sneered. "We are the remnants, the ones who worked with the Zarnan. We want Elira. She betrayed us." Elira's face went pale. She stood tall but trembling inside. Marcus raised his weapon. "No one will harm her while I am here." The standoff lasted minutes that felt like hours. Then the remnants slowly backed away, but their threat was clear. The soldiers strengthened the camp's defenses. Marcus stayed close to Elira, protecting her with every step. That night, under the alien stars, Elira spoke quietly. "My enemies will not stop. They want to control Thalrun again. But I want peace." Marcus looked at her with new respect. "We will fight for that peace. Together." Days passed, and the bond between Marcus and Elira grew stronger. They shared meals, stories, and silent moments of understanding. Each learned to trust the other in a way neither expected. One morning, Marcus found Elira by the river that once gave life to the city. She was watching the water flow, her eyes distant. "Are you thinking about your husband?" Marcus asked gently. Elira nodded. "He was my guide, my strength, but now I must find new strength inside myself." Marcus sat beside her. "You are strong. You have more courage than many I have known." Elira smiled softly. "And you have a good heart, Marcus. I feel safe with you." Their hands touched, lightly. Neither pulled away. In that quiet moment, something changed. It was more than friendship. It was the start of a connection neither had planned, but both felt deeply. The war had brought pain and loss, but it also brought hope. A hope born from two very different people who found strength in each other as the sun set, casting warm light over Thalrun. Marcus and Elira knew their journey was only beginning. Together, they would face whatever came next. The days on Thalrun passed slowly, but the danger never disappeared. Sergeant Marcus Vance and his team worked hard to protect the survivors, especially Elira. Though the war had ended, not everyone accepted the peace. One morning, as the sun rose over the broken city, Marcus found Elira waiting by the command tent. Her eyes looked serious but also full of hope. "Marcus," she said softly, "I need to speak with you." He nodded, curious. "Of course, Elira. What is it?" She took a deep breath and looked into his eyes. "My enemies are still hunting me. The remnants, those who worked with the Zarnan, want to capture me. If they succeed, It will bring pain and danger to many people. Marcus frowned. We will keep you safe here. You don't have to leave. Illyra shook her head gently. No, Marcus, this world is not safe for me anymore. I must leave Thalrune to live. Marcus was silent for a moment. He thought about the soldiers, the survivors, and what it meant to leave a home behind. Where would you go? He asked carefully. Illyra looked down, then back up with determination. I want to go with you, to Earth. Marcus blinked in surprise. Earth? You want to come to my home? She nodded. Yes, if you would have me. I want to start a new life. With you. The words hung in the air, strange and powerful. Marcus stared at Illyra, trying to understand. Why me? He asked. Quietly. Why not someone from your own people? Illyra's eyes shone with honesty. Because you showed me kindness when no one else would. You gave me hope when all seemed lost. I trust you. Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. He never expected this. A stranger from a distant world asking him to share her life was more than he imagined. I don't know if I am the right man for this, Marcus said honestly. I am a soldier. I have seen too much pain. I am not sure I can give you the life you deserve. Illyra smiled softly. You have given me more than any soldier could. You gave me safety, respect, and friendship. That is the start of a good life. Marcus looked into her eyes and saw truth. She was not asking for a title or riches. She wanted a partnership based on trust and care. All right, he said slowly. We will go to Earth together, but you must know it will not be easy. Illyra reached out and took his hand. I am ready. The decision was made. That afternoon, Marcus spoke with his commanding officer. We will take Illyra with us when we return to Earth, he said, firmly. The officer raised an eyebrow but did not argue. As long as it does not interfere with the mission, Marcus nodded. It won't. Preparing for the journey, Marcus and Illyra spent time together, learning more about each other's worlds. She was curious about Earth, asking many questions. He was eager to share stories and pictures of his home. One evening, as the stars shone brightly above, Marcus and Illyra sat near the campfire. The glow of the fire lit their faces. Do you think people on Earth will accept you? Marcus asked. Illyra looked thoughtful. I do not know, but I believe that kindness and truth can cross any distance. Marcus smiled. I will stand with you no matter what. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. The bond between them grew stronger with every passing day. Soon, the preparations were complete. The human soldiers were ready to leave Thalrune behind and take Illyra to a new world, a place of hope, challenges, and possibilities. As the ship's engines hummed to life, Marcus looked at Illyra. The journey ahead was unknown, but he no longer felt alone. Together they would face the future, and for the first time in a long time, both of them dreamed of a new beginning. The spaceship hummed softly as it moved through the blackness of space. Outside, stars twinkled like tiny diamonds on a dark cloth. Inside, the atmosphere was quiet but filled with a new hope. Sergeant Marcus Vance sat across from Illyra in the ship's small common room. The journey from Thalrune to Earth would take many days, and during this time, Marcus hoped they could learn more about each other. Illyra looked around the ship with wonder. The metal walls and bright lights were very different from her world's soft forests and flowing rivers. Still, she did not show fear. Instead, she smiled gently. Your home is far away, she said softly. Yes, Marcus agreed. Earth is many light years from here. It's a big planet with many people and many places. Illyra nodded. Tell me about Earth. What is it like? Marcus thought for a moment. It is full of life. There are oceans that stretch farther than the eye can see, forests filled with trees that reach high into the sky, and cities with tall buildings and bright lights. People on Earth work hard, and they dream of peace. Illyra's eyes shone with interest. It sounds beautiful. It Marcus smiled, but it can also be hard. People fight sometimes, just like on your world. But we try to be better. Days passed. The crew of the ship grew used to Elira's calm presence. She learned simple English words quickly, helped in small ways, and shared stories of her culture. One evening, Marcus found Elira standing by a window looking out at the stars. "Do you miss your home?" Marcus asked softly. Elira nodded. "Yes. Thalrune will always be a part of me. But I want to live here with you and build something new." Marcus stood beside her. "I never thought I would meet someone like you. You are strong and kind. You remind me that even after war there can be hope." Elira smiled and took his hand. "And you remind me that kindness can come from the most unexpected places." Their hands stayed joined as they looked out into the endless sky. In the days that followed, Marcus and Elira shared quiet moments, talking, learning, and dreaming. Elira taught Marcus some Thalari words, and he taught her more English. They laughed at mistakes and cheered each other's successes. The other soldiers watched the two of them with surprise. Some were curious, others doubtful, but all saw a bond growing between the human soldier and the alien woman. One afternoon, as the ship moved closer to Earth, Elira asked Marcus a question that surprised him. "Marcus," she said, "what will happen when we arrive? Will people accept me?" Marcus took a deep breath. "I don't know. Some will be kind, others may not understand. But I will be with you. We will face it together." Elira nodded with quiet courage. "I want to try. For us." The ship's captain called them to the bridge. "Earth is coming into view," he said. "Prepare for arrival." Marcus looked at Elira. She was calm, but ready. As the ship entered Earth's atmosphere, bright blue and green colors filled the windows. The world below was alive with forests, rivers, and cities shining in the sunlight. Marcus felt a mix of excitement and worry. The journey was not over. A new chapter was beginning. Elira squeezed his hand. "Together," she said. Marcus smiled. Together. The spaceship landed gently on Earth's surface. Soldiers and officials gathered to welcome the crew. Cameras flashed, and voices spoke quickly in many languages. Elira felt overwhelmed but stayed close to Marcus. She saw faces filled with curiosity, surprise, and sometimes fear. Marcus stepped forward and spoke clearly. "This is Elira. She is a survivor, from Thalrune. She comes with us in peace and hopes to build a future here." Some people nodded, others whispered. The journey to acceptance would be long, but the first step was taken. Later, as the crew settled into their new home, Marcus and Elira sat quietly. "We made it," Marcus said softly. "Yes," Elira replied. "But this is only the beginning." They looked at each other, knowing that the road ahead would be full of challenges and hope. The spaceship had landed safely on Earth, but the real challenge was just beginning. Sergeant Marcus Vance and Elira stepped onto the busy spaceport, surrounded by tall buildings and people from many nations. It was a world very different from Thalrune. Elira looked around with wide eyes. The bright lights and noises made her feel small, but she held Marcus's hand tightly. He was her anchor, her guide in this new and strange place. They were met by officials from Earth's government, scientists and reporters. Cameras flashed and questions flew quickly. Some voices were kind and curious, but others were cold and doubtful. Marcus noticed the looks some people gave Elira. Whispers followed her steps, and some faces showed fear or mistrust. Earth was not yet ready for an alien visitor, even one who came as a friend. That evening, Marcus and Elira sat in a small room provided for them. The city lights shone outside, the window, a reminder of how far from home Elira truly was. "I do not understand," Elira said softly. "Why do they fear me? I only want peace." Marcus sighed. "People are afraid of what they don't know. Your world, your people. It is all new to them. Some will learn to accept you, but others will need time." Elira nodded, trying to stay strong. I will be patient. Days passed and Elira faced many tests. Scientists studied her to learn about her biology. Government officials asked questions about her past and her intentions. Marcus stood by her side through it all. One afternoon they were invited to a public event where Elira was to speak. The room was full of reporters, officials, and curious citizens. The tension was high. When Elira stepped forward, she spoke with quiet confidence. "I am Elira of the Thalari people," she began. "I come from a world torn by war. I lost my husband and many loved ones, but I also carry hope, a hope that peace can grow between our worlds." Her words were simple, but they reached the hearts of many in the room. "I am here not as a threat, but as a friend," she continued. "I ask for kindness and trust, so that together we can build a future where all beings can live without fear." Some faces softened. Applause broke out from parts of the crowd. Marcus watched with pride. Elira's courage was stronger than anyone he had met. After the event, a small girl approached Elira. Her eyes were wide and full of wonder. "Are you really from another world?" the girl asked shyly. Elira smiled and nodded. "Yes, little one." The girl took Elira's hand. "Will you stay and be my friend?" Elira's heart warmed. "Yes, I will." This moment was shared quickly on social media. Images of Elira comforting the child spread across the world, touching many hearts. Slowly, public opinion began to change. People started to see Elira not as a stranger, but as someone who cared. Still, challenges remained. Some groups spoke out against her presence, fearing political problems or unknown dangers. Marcus knew their journey would be difficult. One evening, while walking through a quiet park, Marcus and Elira spoke about the future. "We will face hardships," Marcus said, "but I believe we can overcome them, together." Elira looked at him with trust. "Your world is different from mine, but your heart is true." They walked hand in hand beneath the stars, ready to face whatever came next. The road ahead was not easy, but for the first time, Elira felt a new kind of hope. The hope of a home. The days on Earth were filled with hope, but also growing challenges. Sergeant Marcus Vance stood beside Elira as they faced new questions and doubts. Not everyone was ready to welcome an alien from another world, even if she came with peace. One morning, Marcus received a message from an important government agency. They wanted to meet Elira privately. The news worried Marcus. He feared they might not trust her. Elira, however, remained calm. "I have faced danger before," she said quietly. "I will face it again." At the meeting, officials asked many questions. They wanted to know about Elira's past, her people, and if she had any hidden plans. Elira answered honestly, sharing her story of loss and hope. But some officials remained suspicious. They whispered about threats and secrets. One day, without warning, agents arrived at the place where Elira was staying. They told Marcus and Elira that she must come with them for further questioning. Marcus's heart tightened. He knew this was more than a simple check. It was a test of trust, and Elira was being judged unfairly. "I will not let them take you," Marcus said firmly. "Not without a fight." Elira looked at Marcus with gratitude. "Thank you, Marcus. Your loyalty means more than words." Marcus gathered a few trusted friends from the military. Together, they planned to help Elira if things went wrong. As agents came to take Elira away, Marcus stepped forward. "She is under my protection," he said boldly. "No one will harm her while I am here." The agents hesitated but finally agreed to delay their actions while the situation was reviewed. The news spread quickly. Some people praised Marcus for his courage, while others questioned his judgment. In the days that followed, Marcus and Elira prepared for a hearing, a chance for Elira to speak for herself and prove her innocence. The hearing was held in a large room filled with officials, reporters, and watchers from around the world. Tension filled the air. When Elira stood and spoke, her voice was calm but strong. "I am not a threat," she said. "I am a survivor, a widow, and a friend. I come to Earth to live in peace, to build bridges between our worlds. My only desire is to help create a future where fear does not rule." Her words moved many in the room. She spoke not as an alien, but as someone who understood loss, hope, and the need for trust. After hours of questions and discussions, the officials decided to allow Illyra to stay, but they warned that she would be watched closely. Marcus felt relief wash over him. "We won this battle," he said quietly to Illyra. She smiled, her eyes shining. "Because you stood by me." In the weeks that followed, Illyra and Marcus became symbols of hope and courage. Their story inspired many, showing that trust and friendship could overcome fear. Together they faced challenges, but their bond grew stronger. They knew the road ahead would not always be easy, but with loyalty and honesty they could face anything. As they looked to the future, Marcus and Illyra understood that their journey was about more than survival. It was about building a new home, a new family, and a new world. The day of the ceremony was bright and clear. The sky was a deep blue, and soft clouds drifted lazily across the sun. Earth and Thalarun had come together to celebrate a new beginning, a union that symbolized hope and peace across the stars. Sergeant Marcus Vance stood tall in his uniform, waiting nervously. Today, he would marry Illyra, the beautiful alien widow he had promised to protect. Their journey had been long and full of challenges, but now at last they were ready to start a new life together. Illyra entered the room, her gown shimmering with delicate patterns that reflected the light. She looked both regal and gentle, a true daughter of two worlds. Her eyes met Marcus's, and in that moment all the fear and doubt of the past faded away. The ceremony was simple but full of meaning. Leaders from Earth and Thalarun spoke about friendship, trust, and the power of unity. They honored the courage of two people who had crossed galaxies to find each other and build something better. When it was time to exchange vows, Marcus took Illyra's hands in his. "I promise to stand by you, to protect you, and to share my life with you," he said. "Together, we will face whatever comes. And together, we will build a home filled with love and hope." Illyra's voice was soft but sure. "I promise to honor your kindness, to walk beside you with courage, and to carry the light of both, our worlds in my heart." As they exchanged rings, the room filled with applause and smiles. It was more than a marriage. It was a symbol of peace between two very different peoples. After the ceremony, friends and families from both worlds gathered to celebrate. The music was a beautiful mix of Earth and Thalari traditions, and the food carried flavors from two planets. Laughter and joy filled the air. Marcus and Illyra danced beneath twin moons, an ancient tradition from Thalrun, now shared on Earth. They moved together like they had done this forever, their hearts beating in time. Later, as the party slowed, and stars twinkled outside, Marcus and Illyra stood hand in hand looking at the future. "We have come so far," Marcus said. "I never thought I would find this, someone to share my life with." Illyra smiled. "And I never thought I would find a home beyond the stars, but with you I do." Their journey was far from over. Challenges would come, but together, they were stronger than any fear or doubt. Marcus looked at the sky, then back at Illyra. "This is only the beginning. Our story will be one of hope for many." Illyra nodded, her eyes shining bright. Home of stars, a home of hearts. And so, under the glow of twin moons and distant galaxies, two souls from different worlds began their life together. A life full of promise, love, and endless possibilities.